My fellow Filipinos, I speak to you today as a Filipino who has dedicated my life to public service and loved this country too much to stay silent. I once believed our nation was finally rising, only to see corruption pull it back down again. Our people are struggling, prices are high, there is flooding everywhere, and billions are being lost to corruption. This flood control scandal is the biggest corruption scheme I have witnessed in my entire life, having seen 8 presidents lead this nation. This is an obvious, well-orchestrated scheme created by this administration to exploit the country's national budget for personal gain. The floods have only worsened during Marcos Jr. administration. Why? Because there was never a master plan for flood control. Only scattered projects approved anywhere and everywhere, without coordination, flood mapping studies, or honesty. Worse, our farmers' crops keep getting destroyed because a dike meant to protect the river failed. Family homes continue to be washed away by flash flood, and our children, the poor, and the entire nation is paying this price. The BBM administration has invested ₱500 billion in flood control alone. More than 9,800 flood control projects have been built. But why do the floods keep getting worse? Let us speak plainly. Public funds are not released easily. There is a process, and at the very top of that process sits one man, the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Every year, before Congress sees any line item, the President reviews and approves the National Expenditure Program, the NEP. That is the master plan of where our money will go. Without his signature and approval, it cannot move forward. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, then prepares and releases the funds with the President's approval. The Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, who also takes orders from the President, implement the project. These are not independent agencies. They follow the President's direction and instruction. And when Congress debates the budget and send it back to Malacanang, who signed it into law? The President himself. He approves the General Appropriation Act, or GAA, with full knowledge of its content. So when the Congress and Senate inserted $450 billion in public work funds and Marcos Jr. vetoed only $29 billion, it means he personally reviewed the remaining ₱421 billion in infrastructure. It is also means he conferred with his first cousin Speaker of the House of Representatives, Martin Romualdez. He also chairs the Cabinet Cluster of Disaster Preparedness and Infrastructure, which means he should be leading the creation of a genuine, science-based national flood control plan. He is responsible for the long-term plan of his own Build Better More program. But instead, it has turned into Build More, Waste More. Every major flood project, every rehabilitation program, every large-scale public works, all of it passes through his desk. He reviews every plan and approves every peso. So tell me, how can anyone say, I don't know? How can he say, you should be ashamed of yourself? Perhaps it is you that you should be ashamed of yourself, Mr. President. Filipinos' hard-earned pesos have disappeared into flood controls projects like ghosts. Who carries the ultimate responsibility? It is not the officials, not the engineers, not the contractors. It is the president who holds the power and the trust of the nation. Corruption has been allowed to flood every agency of this government. It is a failure of leadership at the very top. What our president is doing is shifting the blame to others to save himself. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called a weak leader. Let me ask this simple question. Why is the ICI, the Independent Commission on Infrastructure, not investigating Ilocos Norte? Did you know that majority of the flood control projects in Ilocos Norte are contracted to either the Discayas or the newly elected Lawag mayor, handpicked by the president himself? Almost 4 billion pesos has been funded to this mayor, who is their favorite contractor since Bongbong administration. Why is this not being flagged? The controversial Discayas themselves have 2.7 billion flood control projects that are paid in advance, with some uncompleted in Ilocos Norte. Why are the investigations skipping Ilocos Norte? The clearest example of how corruption hides under political protection. If he is doing this in his own province, then there is no doubt he is doing this to the rest of the country. I challenge you, Mr. President, to order your so-called independent body, the ICI, to begin this probe in your own province of Ilocos Norte. Prove credibility first before diverting blame to others. I challenge the youth and the religious group to accompany the ICI in their investigation of Ilocos Norte. I urge the public to call out the engineers and contractors in Ilocos Norte to stop protecting the mastermind. Look at how they will spin the story and try to silence me. The so-called plunder case they filed against me is a baseless complaint, a political weapon meant to destroy me because I have chosen to speak the truth about corruption at the highest level. If there is any truth to any accusations against me, I am willing to go to jail. I am a man of one word. The complainant of this plunder case, Attorney Tilly Cordero, who has a record of being suspended for 6 months by the Supreme Court for violation of the Code of Professional Responsibility, or CPR, of lawyers. She even came to my house asking for money, proof of pictures which I will post publicly. She is the first cousin of the mayor I defeated in Narvacan, Mayor Edgardo Zaragoza, the most corrupt mayor that Ilocos has ever had. For 33 years that he and family were mayors, there has been no progress, no new municipal building, no new market, and barely any infrastructure except ghost project. This mayor even had ghost farmers to convert public funds to the mayor's pocket. In my barangay Solbec alone, they appropriated 9 million pesos for the benefits of 65,000 ghost farmers, while the official registered farmers are only 80, with the whole population of Narvacan being only 44,000. I filed that case 10 years ago, but the Ombudsman has not even touched that very blatant case up to now. Why have they accepted this fake complaint against me in just one day, but not act on the real plunder case I have filed against Mayor Zaragoza? This is how they operate: silence the whistleblower and protect the corrupt. They attack me because I'm not afraid to tell the truth. But take note, all their paid online troll farms and their attack dogs will never silence me. My countrymen, let us no longer be fooled. We keep trusting the same name. We were told that Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. will redeem the Marcos corruption course on the Filipinos. But look around, his government agencies are flooding with corruption, and before it blows up into his face, He used the Suna to tell the story as if he is the hero who uncovered the mess to save himself while deflecting the blame on others. Let's not be made stupid. How many times must we let the same family treat our country like their personal piggy bank? How many times must we trust the same name and expect a different result? If we truly love our country and children, then we must break this cycle. We are on the verge of exposing the biggest corruption scandal in the Philippine history. And should stop now. We should not stop now. Let us not allow the ICI, which was created by the President himself, to control or limit the investigation. Allow different groups to investigate in the ICI who will not be afraid to ask hard questions, and it should be viewed publicly for transparency. We cannot let them protect his friends and his cousins, his family, and most of all, the President himself. Now that the truth is out, we cannot wait for change. We must force it. Thus, in power will not fix this system. It must be the people. First, to our farmers and workers, demand accountability. Your fields are still flooded, even after billions have been spent. Your roads keep collapsing after every storm, and your towns still sink in mud. Second, let the student lead, stand up, organize, and lead the peaceful but powerful movement. This is your future. They are stealing. Stand united. When the youth stand united as one, no power can silence them. Third, and I appeal to all politicians, politicians should set aside ambition. Forget colors, forget alliances. This is no longer about politics. This is about restoring the nation's honor. Those who still have integrity, speak now. History will remember the few who stood up and forget the many who stayed silent. Fourth, the police and armed forces stand with the people, not with the powerful. You swore an oath to defend the Republic, not any single politician. When the people protest peacefully, please protect them. Do not prosecute them. For our mutual education, the primary provision that defines the duty of the armed forces of the Philippines under the Constitution is Section 3, Article 2, which provides, thus, civilian authority is at all times supreme over the military. The armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state to secure the sovereignty of the state and the integrity of the national territory. Reading the above provision does not say that the AFP is the protector of the President and his government. It says protector of the people and the state. And finally, to all Filipinos, demand accountability at the top. The truth can no longer be hidden, and the people will no longer be silenced. We are not stupid. We deserve better. Our children deserve better. If we stay silent, the truth will be buried again, and our children will pay the price. This is not about politics. It is about true or sober leadership and accountability. If the President cannot face the truth and take responsibility for his failures, he must step aside for the sake of the nation. A voluntary resignation would not be a humiliation. It would be an act of dignity, a rare moment of courage that could still restore trust in our institution. Every peso diverted and every project that doesn't exist is not just a waste. It is a loss of life, loss of security, loss of dignity. I urge all of you to rise and speak and to act now. so that the truth may guide our country forward. Thank you, and may God bless the Philippines. This is Manong Chavit Singson.